Ah, yes, feel the cool breeze. Back at you with another one. SH Monsterarts Shimo from Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire. That's what we're working with here. Ice Queenage. And, yeah, so, bottom line is I'm definitely trying to complete the GXK SH Monster Art set. So I want every figure they put out from Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire. And so, this is a figure we got to pay a little more for. You know what I mean? It's a little bigger than the average SH Monster Arts figure because Shimo is definitely a bigger Titan. So, and I'm hoping that it does scale correctly. But, once again, SH Monster Arts is going to give us this protective box. So this is the front of the box, actually. I guess. Front or the back, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Back. It's I said it before and I'll say it again. I really like these protective outer boxes that SH Monster Arts does. It's really cool. And Shimo is a cool Titan, played a big part in the movie. And I'm really excited about getting this figure, so let's crack her open. Okay, what a fantastic box this is. This box really grabs you. I love the deep purple that it is with the Godzilla X Kong gray and pink and blue logo right here. Shimo from Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire. A really, really cool picture of the figure on the front of it with the Monsterverse and Bandai Namco logos, Bandai logo on the bottom. But what a nice background for this picture of the figure. And this box just looks amazing. Of course, you have SH Monster Arts Shimo from Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire on top. You have Shimo from Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire, and a nice picture of the figure on the side. The other side, you're just going to get some purple clouds and SH Monster Arts Shimo from Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire. Same thing on the bottom. On the back here, we are going to have 4 beautiful pictures of the figure right there. Looks really nice. We could see from these pictures, it does appear to have quite a bit of articulation. And we are going to get another piece for Kong. I believe that we get the head sculpt with the gritting teeth and the silver tooth. So I think that's what we get with this. If I'm not mistaken, I don't 100% on that, but I think that's what it is. That's what it looks like right there. So, and then of course, not everybody is okay with that type of business practice from SH Monster Arts, where you have to literally buy every figure to have a complete Kong. I understand why they did it, because they want to basically force everybody to buy each figure. But all of Kong's accessories probably should have came with Kong, and I'm sure everybody else feels that way too, but it's whatever. That's part of collecting too. Sometimes you got to just take it on the chin if you want to get the figures you want. So I just want to give you a basic idea of what the clamshell looks like. You can see the obvious size of this figure. And of course, we're going to get the accessory with Kong's head, which I believe has the silver tooth. We'll take a closer look at that, but just to show you the packaging. Okay, so here we have it, straight out of the box. Obviously with the Kong head, which as you can see right there on the side is the silver tooth. And it's a nice gritting the teeth pose right there. So we have another Kong head with the silver tooth, and that's cool. All right, so let's get that out of the way and take a look at Shimo, and I'm very much liking what I'm seeing here. You know, unfortunately, this is probably going to be a review where, I might have to get on other reviewers about it, because a lot of whining and complaining about this figure. A lot of wah 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 about it. Um, you know, people complaining about the color, the paint job, blah blah blah. I think it's straight away. It's impressive looking. I really like the dorsal plates. I like how you have different sorts of dorsal plates actually, because the one on the back of his head here look blue, and then these here right at the top of his back are blue with like a little tinge of purple. Then you have some blue ones, and then going down the tail down to her Thagomizer, those have little reflections of purple when the light is on them, which is kind of cool. I wasn't expecting that, and I think that's pretty dope. It just straight away looking at it, it appears that this figure has a ton of articulation, so I can't wait to get in that. You could just see it. And yeah, we're going to break it all down, and, we'll talk about, like, what the people who hated it say also. I happen to think straight away here, the face looks very nice. I think it's a fairly damn screen accurate face for Shimo. That looks good. The teeth, just right, I have the mouth closed right now. I will open it so we can further take a look at the inside of the mouth. But the teeth straight away here look pretty good, pretty damn good. And as does the detail all over this thing, So, but that's just to kick it off here. Let's start. Let's explore her. Let's pose her and see what she could do. Okay, so first off, we're gonna get Shimo into kind of like a running pose, and let me just tell you, like, straight off the bat, the articulation on this figure is butter smooth and super impressive. Like you're gonna get fantastic crunch here on the waist section, the chest, the back section here. Wow, from curled up to straight. So like each of these pieces here is going to give you a tremendous amount of crunch, or it could straighten out. And the same could be said for the head and neck as well as the tail. Like, the articulation running through here is amazing. And then the same thing applies to all four legs. And, the way they bend from the top of the legs to the knee, to the ankles, to the feet. All of those function. You know what I'm saying? So, like, we're going to see some dynamic poses, but, like the articulation is going to allow for some dynamic poses. Like, you could see it already. Just upon first touch, first pose, gives me the impression here that this articulation just is elite. And that's really nice. And this is a nice pose just to kick it off. But you could really make everything work in tandem to achieve a pose here. And then, of course, we're going to have, the mouth open. You'll see the inside of the mouth, the tongue. Looks very realistic. I don't know if you could closely see the detail on the tongue there, but that's fantastic. You can kind of see like the marks and grooves on the tongue. And the teeth just look really nice. They look sharp. It looks great. The eyes are well done. Yeah, both of the eyes are very nice. They're like a royal blue, I want to say. But yeah, you know, like you're definitely getting blue with hints of the purple depending upon how the light hits it, and you could kind of see that. So that's dope. And yeah, very, very cool so far. So I think this thing is going to be able to do a lot. So let's see what it could do. Okay, now that's very nice. So you could see here how much crunch you could get in the midsection. And you could get turn on it. So you could turn it to the slide slightly as well as crunch it down. And the same applies for the neck here. You can see you could turn it and get the head to face that way as well. Make it look like Shimo's like basically turning to the side a little bit. And that's just fantastic, man. Look how nice that is. Look at how everything just works in unison on this figure. I really love the articulation so far. Like I'm just telling you, everything works so fluidly here. And the way this is designed from the head to the tail, and the way the legs work is just really nice. Okay, now I want to just show you what it's like when you have the, you know, pretty much all four of the legs as straight as they could be, and how Shimo looks when she looks down. Now the thing about the looking down part, this is a flaw of this figure in my opinion. Like it looks okay like that, it's still got gappage there. But if you look all the way down with it, you're going to create this gap right here that I'm definitely not feeling. So just note that. I mean, it's got mobility down, and it does function fairly well. But if we, you know, and it's fine up and side to side. But if we go all the way down, we're getting some unusual gappage in a couple of different places, you know, by these pieces here. So you know, just note that you might be better served not posing them looking completely down. So you can move the front part down and try to avoid that gap is basically what I'm saying. But you know, it's not the worst thing in the world. You know what I mean? We're not gonna make them. We're not gonna really make Shimo look completely all the way down anyway. You know, the figure looks better when the head is more looking up. You know, you can make it look down like that, and it's just fine. It's not really gapping that bad. You just can't go all the way with it. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's just something to note. That's a flaw to note. Every figure has flaws. That's one of them, and that doesn't really discourage me at all. You know, but yeah. So far the articulation is nice. That just knocked it down a slight notch because that should have been taken care of. There probably should have been another piece there, you know, or at least like a soft piece, maybe like Haya does right there to fill that gap. But yeah, a minor flaw in my opinion. Okay, now this is excellent right here. So we can see, you know, the figure has the balance to do a standing on her hind legs pose, which is very, very nice. I just want to point out underneath here some of the details, some of the painting on the underside here, on the undercarriage, is really nice. And the neck, there's a little shade of like, I don't know, it's like greenish blue and cream color almost. Very, very subtle. Yeah. So, you know, it's mostly white, but there is some subtle brushing on it. And it makes it look good. But how cool is it that we could do this standing on the hind legs pose for Shimo? Excellent. All right, let's keep going. And you could get low with Shimo here. You know, you bring the back legs down, and you see how You see how the bottom of the feet bend like that? The knees bend in and the bottom of the feet go flat. That's really nice. And also just to show you how wide you can pose it too as well. You know, the arms go out pretty wide. The legs really bend down so you can get a nice low to the ground, straight position. Tail is a little on the stiff side. You know what I mean? It moves fairly well, but it's a little on the stiff side, and this keeps popping out on me right now. May have to heat that up and get that tail flowing. But I do like the tail, you know, even though right now it's giving me more up and down, you know, than it is curling from side to side or curling up and down. You know, it's just giving me like a straight. But when you really want to start curling or bending it, it's stiff. So, but we'll take care of that. You put some heat on that, it'll be fine. And yeah, we could you could put Shimo into some nice action poses like this, and that looks great. All right, so now we're just going to give you a heads-on view of Shimo right here. I basically moved the arms out a little bit in a way to make her look kind of muscular. And also, you know, these things on the tail, they're okay. They're kind of weird. I don't really understand the purpose of having them movable like that. It's kind of cool. I'm not having the problems that other reviewers had about it, you know, like, so that's just fine. But I like this front view. I like the way you could stretch the legs out here, you know. And listen, man, I don't know. The people complaining, there could have been some dry brushing. Dry brush your nutsack, all right? Like, what do you want, man? You know, go by the higher. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the problem here? You know, this is the best looking Shimo we've gotten in our hands so far. I don't have the higher yet. I'll compare them when I do, but. Like, I hate that people nitpick and complain the way they do. Is the price maybe a little too high? Okay, I'll go along with that, but it's a bigger figure. We knew we were going to pay Ghidorah prices for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. Like, immediately when I knew that they were going to make Shimo figures, I knew we would be paying King Ghidorah prices for it. That's just the bottom line, because that's the size we're looking at here. And, you know, as I'm talking, I'm just taking a look at the detail on that tongue, which looks really good, you know. This is a nice figure. And it's a pretty cool paint job, honestly. You know, there's subtle hints of things on it. It's not just pure white. There's a little bit of, like, brushing on it. And it does look good. I love the black fingernails and toenails. Those are painted great. So, you know, I just hate that. I hate when people get so nitpicky about stuff. It's like they suck the fun out of it. You know what I mean? Like, let kids or let people that like figures just enjoy their figure. Like, I understand, you know, you want to be a figure snob. You want to complain about the paint job when you're not, you know, Vincent van Gogh or Picasso. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you ain't Picasso. You know what I mean? So, stop worrying about that stuff, you know? Yes, I think it's fair to complain about Kong pieces coming with these other figures. I don't like those type of business practices. That's a fair complaint. But, you know, I don't really think anything else is too justified with this, as far as that is concerned. You know, yes, it's a little pricey, but you knew you were going to pay that. How much do you want to pay for this? $1.50? I mean, it's too big of a figure to be paying $1.50. It ain't going to be that way, you know? So you're going to pay what you pay for, like, for Ghidorah. And that's the bottom line there. But, you know, this is nice. I like this figure a lot. It's actually really good. It doesn't have many flaws at all. I would say the flaws are the gaps when you look all the way down. Maybe these things, like, because I've seen they have popped out, but they actually function pretty well on mine, and they kind of look cool. So I'm not mad at them 100%, And, the tail is a little on the stiff side, like that, but that's fine. You know what I mean? You pop it back in, you heat it up, and it starts to function a lot better. But overall, you're getting a really nice figure here. All right, let's go. Now, I love how, I said it before, you get bent at the knees, you also get them at the elbows. So there's so many ways that you could position these arms and legs. And it's fantastic. You could have Shimo in a nice dynamic pose like that, looking up. Look at the way the head functions, too. You know what I mean? You could turn it to the side and have her looking up at the same time. And that's so sweet, man, Now, let's talk about Shimo a little bit. So, basically, which we haven't done yet in this video, but basically, so Shimo is one of the most powerful Titans, supposedly the oldest Titan. They say that she was responsible for the Ice Age. She basically has ice breath. And she could freeze everything. She's a Titan powerful enough to end the world, basically. But she's not evil. She's a pretty calm Titan, but Scar King had her as a slave, basically. He had her under control. He had the crystal from the Whip Slash, and I'll bring that out later, which basically controlled her through pain, and they said that in the movie. So Scar King basically had Shimo enslaved, and just controlled her with this crystal to do his bidding. And so they had her chained up. They had her in Scar King's lair. And so Scar King basically utilizes her as a weapon in the movie. Even though she doesn't really want to fight. She's a docile Titan. But she has to do what Scar King says, because Scar King has a crystal to make her feel pain. So when he points it at something, she's got to shoot her ice breath at it. And that's very interesting. And she's a cool Titan, a cool new Titan. You know what I mean? Like a Titan that will basically stand the test of time, in my opinion, with any of the rest of them. You know what I mean? With Ghidorah, with Mothra, with Rodan, with Mechagodzilla. Shimo is definitely here to stay. And we should be getting her in the next Godzilla Kong movie. I'm sure Shimo's going to make an appearance again, so I'm sure everybody's looking forward to that as well. But this is a nice figure. Don't listen to the naysayers. You know what I'm saying? I collect both SH Monsterarts and higher, so I'm getting the higher anyway, man. You know what I mean? And so, you should not feel hesitant to pick this up. It's pretty quality. You know what I mean? You're getting a decent face sculpt right there. Good inside of the mouth, good teeth, good eyes. The dorsal plates look hitting. They're blue with hints of purple. You got it's a nice tail that goes up and down. It doesn't do too much curvature, but that's not necessary. And then you just got a bunch of articulation. The neck articulation and the head articulation is very good. Even though looking all the way down gives it gaps, every other way it's great. The articulation on the body is fantastic, which it could go from straight to really crunched up. And the legs just work great. Look at the bend at the knees and the elbows that you get. Look what you're able to do in every direction with the legs. Fantastic, man. This is a really nice figure that I'm happy to own. Now, I just want to show you the curvature of it. Like, that's all curved all the way. with the tail as low as you could get it, and also with the knees and elbows bent and looking down. So you could get Shimo into a rather compact position like that, with the back legs really, look at the crunch you get right there. You know, you're getting crunch here, here, and here. So that's awesome. And look at that. Look at how the balance and the turn of the body here allows for a pose like that, where Shimo's looking to the side and body is turned to the side. That's good balance and really good articulation at the waist here, at the waist and the torso area. Excellent. Now here's a really dynamic, tail off the ground, balanced on 2 feet, an arm and 1 leg pose. Look at that. That's excellent, man. That is a really nice action pose, like you have Shimo mid-stride. That's beautiful. Look at how this figure is performing. Also, look at the little bit of the detail on the bottom of the feet. Very, very nice. Detail going all the way up the arms, the nooks and cranny on the torso. I really love the chunky way Shimo's skin scales are done here, especially on the tail. That looks very nice. But a lot of nooks and crannies. I like the way the back of the neck looks and the face. Yeah, look at that. And you can see the different shades of color on the underside right there. So there is more than just pearl white paint here, folks, or bright white, you know. And even if it is just bright white, so what? That's what we got with the Playmates. This is an SH Monsterarts with articulation, you know. What are you complaining about? The price? Okay. I got you. Brokey. I got you. Anyway, that looks great. And this figure performs, you know. Don't suck the fun out of it, people. You say what you feel is wrong. Say what flaws you know you think it has, but don't ruin it for other people, you know. Don't be so nitpicky. This looks nice, you know. Find something to enjoy about it, guys. Now I want to just show you how wide we could get the arms and legs and still have the feet pretty much flat, you know. That's really, really nice. You could get Shimo fairly low to the ground here. I love this. This is so nice, man. Yeah, yeah. It's just so many poses you could do with this thing, and they all look pretty realistic. And, you know, the head and neck articulation is sweet, man. I have to say. Look at that. That looks great. Fantastic. Very, very nice. And basically try to recreate this pose here from the back of the box as best as we can, which is really nice. Look at the curl on that. That's so great that you could do that. Like, you know, like it just gives you the possibility of so many different positions to pose it in because of the functionality here. Excellent. And we could basically try to recreate another picture off the back of the box, which looks really, really nice. Look at the way you could bend everything here, man. There's so many ways. Like, it's such, bro, it's like, you as soon as you touch it, it's like you have a feel for it. And it just functions so nicely. The feet, the ankles, the knees, the elbows, you know, like it's just clicking, the neck. Everything works together on this to really have some nice dynamic poses. Okay, so you could basically recreate this scene after Kong and Scar King had their first battle, where Scar King was really pulling off some good moves, had Kong choked out, and then Kong basically got out of it, ragdolled Scar King. And instead of continuing the fight, Scar King calls Shimo out there, points this crystal, which is at the end of the whip slash, which basically controls Shimo. I guess it's the same crystal that he has for dorsal plates here. And so you could just recreate that scene when Kong saw Shimo first appear. And Yeah, that's awesome. So, yeah, I mean that's how Scar King had mind control over Shimo with this crystal. And as I've said in a few other videos, it would be very nice if we got like the Great Titan War movie, which kind of like goes back and explains all of this stuff, how Scar King got control of Shimo, how Godzilla entrapped them in that lair. I would love to see that, you know. So, you know, Shimo was not an evil titan, you know. She was just under Scar King's control. She's quite docile normally. She didn't even want to fire the ice breath at Kong when Scar King called her out. Scar King basically used it on her, and you know, her head smashed to the ground, and until she finally blew the ice breath at Kong, and then Kong ran out of there and escaped, but not before he got frostbite on his hand. But very cool that we could recreate this scene, and you know, I'm happy to say that the scaling for Shimo and the rest of these guys is like pretty much spot on. I think it's good. It's nice. It works, you know. So I like that. Win-win. All right. Now this is absolutely awesome. Shout out to my boy Stevie Spence at the Steve Monahan Show. Peep out his channel. Check out his interviews and videos and stuff like that with legends in the industry of hip-hop, reggae, boxing. Make sure you check that out. But I know that he wanted to see this. He wanted to see this scene. So here you go, Spence. Look how dope that is, man. That's so great, man. Awesome, bro. I love how you could recreate these scenes from the movie. You know what I mean? With these figures. That's what makes SH Monsterarts so special, that they give you the articulation to recreate poses that you saw in the movie. And that's, you know, that's how we have fun with these figures. And that just looks great, man. You know, Scar King Cat with the whip slash around him, carrying Kong's axe, just basically standing on top of Shimo, marching into battle. Awesome. And another absolutely awesome shot here. Obviously, this is, you know, the money shot from the movie when they all four of them jumped at each other, when Kong grabbed onto Godzilla's dorsal plate and just jumped off of him, and Scar King leapt up off of Shimo, and they all four collided into each other. And how nice does that look? Wow, scaling is awesome. Godzilla scales really well with Shimo too. I think the scaling is pretty much damn perfect. You know, the only scaling that might be a little off is Scar King, because he probably should have been shorter than he is, because he was shorter than Kong, so you really got to bend his legs, but that's neither here nor there. All four of these figures are great, you know? Kudos to SH Monsterarts. They take a lot of shit from a lot of shitty reviewers, you know? And it's unfair sometimes. I'm so happy to have this complete set. Well, it's not complete, actually. I need Zuko and Mothra, which are next on the list. But, I mean, to have all four of these guys makes me very, very happy, you know. So now we'll finish the set with Zuko and Mothra. But how nice does that look, guys? Awesome. And you could basically just recreate that scene where Godzilla's battling Shimo and kind of like tackles her into some buildings. That looks good. You see how nice Godzilla scales? That's about the scale that it was in the movie. So that's right on, in my opinion, and looks super cool. Also recreate it where Shimo's basically tossing Kong around like a rag doll. Got his biting on the beast glove and just tossing him around. That was pretty awesome. And that looks pretty good too. Kong scales well also. All right, Steve, I know here's another scene that you wanted to see. And look how awesome that is, man. That's so cool. That's so cool that you could stand. And it gives you the support to do it, by the way. I should mention that. For both Scar King and Kong. You can brace it. on Shimo's dorsal plates, which allows for that pose to happen. And that looks awesome. That's the end of the movie. I can't wait to get the Shimo and Mothra figures, because I'll recreate this scene with, the Suko and Mothra figures, because I'll recreate this scene with Suko sitting on top of Kong's shoulder to really give it some weight. But this is so dope, man. Just so cool that you could do that. And look at that. That's the end of the movie, basically. But awesome, man. All right, folks. So that's going to wrap this one up. And I do highly recommend this figure. It's super nice. It's got good articulation. It does have a good paint job, despite what people say. It looks nice. It looks really nice. The dorsal plates are nice. The facial sculpt is nice. The inside of the mouth, the tongue, the teeth, good. Eyes, acceptable, right? And paint job on the nails is nice. The paint job is just good all around, basically. But, you know, the articulation here is the winner, man, you know, because there's literally so many different poses and looks and directions you could put this thing in, because of the elite articulation of it. And I really, really like it, you know? I think the legs are fantastic. And look at that curvature. Like, look at how you could bend Shimo. That looks amazing. So, yeah, if you like what you see, have no fear. Go out there and get you some Shimo. And like the goddamn video. Subscribe to my channel, douchebags. All right, peace out. I'll be back at you with another one. I actually have more stuff right now that I'm about halfway through filming. So as soon as I post this, I'll get back to finishing that. But let's go. Shimo, baby. Feel that ice breath. Peace.